everyone, and welcome into our inaugural episode of our brand new show here called Balk About It. I'm your host, Brooke Grimsley, alongside with my co-host, or I guess I should say cohort, Polo Asensio. Polo?
We were just talking. We're not even hosts. We're just in front of a camera. You're here, I'm here. We have our elephant, we have our coffee. By the way, right off the shoot, I have a coffee with no brands. So if anybody wants to sponsor, please follow us and let us know. And your brand can be here. And obviously, you have to pay us. Because we're not doing this for free.
Yeah, I like how you knew to do that beforehand, because this is why the elephant is directly in front of, because I didn't think about that. So maybe one day I'll be able to unveil what's behind the elephant.
There you go. And we will have our first unveiling at some point. But yeah, welcome. And like Brooke said, we're just going to balk about it. It's not talking about it, but we're going to talk and balk, which basically here means not complain, but raise our hand, turn on the red lights, not the song by the Police, turn on the red shoes, Roxanne. But yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Just chat about it, right?
Just
baseball, entertainment, news, notes, whatever is on
Hopefully it's entertainment. Hopefully it's entertainment.
I think we're entertaining. We've known each other long enough.
For a while, yes.
Maybe we should start with that a little bit. So okay. I've known you since I moved here to St. Louis in 2018, right?
Yes, uh-huh.
You remember the first time we chatted?
I don't remember, but if you tell me what did I...
You said I was the best broadcaster on earth.
Oh, wow. That's why I don't remember. I always said that.
Oh, okay. So you were just sucking up to me. I see how it is. Okay.
No. You know what? A hustler always has to respect another hustler. Mm-hmm. And girl, you are one hustler. Like if you've seen Brooke out there when she was doing TV, carrying this big old camera, big old microphone, all by herself, doing the interviews, that's when you say, okay, maybe, and this is something I said about myself, maybe I'm not the best one out there, but I'm the best looking one. You know, the hat, the chains, the shirt. She was making it look like she was the best one out there because she was hustling so hard. And congrats on your career. And this is just another a stepping stone into your future. So yes, we're going to have some fun. And I do recall seeing you at the stadium, Busch Stadium, a lot of times doing your thing. And that's why, so you know what? We should do something together. We have a lot in common, a lot of situations that we talk about. And I think people out there are going to enjoy it. They're going to get to know you a little better, know me a little or a lot better, because as you know, I'm an open book. Yes. Every time I talk on the radio or I go anywhere, I speak my truth, and I'm sticking to it. So.
And that's what I like. It works out pretty well. And I think you should also tell people what you do, because you have a pretty cool job as well.
Well, I am I'm a broadcaster for the St. Louis Cardinals. And I happen to be Spanish broadcaster. But as you can tell, as you can hear, I speak both Spanish and English. And I say that because there's some Spanish broadcasters in MLB and perhaps in sports in the United States. Their English is not, what I think it's supposed to be. In this industry, you need to put yourself out there as much as you can, right? Obviously, I work for the Cardinals, but I'm not the Cardinals. I'm part of the Cardinals. I'm the voice of the Cardinals in Spanish, but at the end, I am Polo Asensio. And when, let's say, if when I move on from the Cardinals, I'm not telling anybody or giving anybody any ideas.
It's not going anywhere, Cardinals.
I'm still Polo Asensio. And at the end, that's what people need to understand and need to, I want them, not need to, I want them to know that way beyond and way before Cardinal baseball, I was somebody else. And way after Cardinal baseball, I'm going to be that same person. And that's what I will like for people to understand and to see more than baseball. And that's why we created Let's Balk About It. Because let's balk way beyond the baseball.
If you can't tell already, we like to talk a lot. So this works out for Balk About It. And that also kind of moves into the first segment, because I feel like with the inaugural episode, everybody's trying to get to know us a little bit better. Even you and I are getting to know each other a little bit better.
Like when you told me, you put on social media you're getting engaged. And congratulations, when's the wedding? Oh, in 3 years. Well, it's been like 3.5 and she's still single, so there's still time to back down. So yeah.
Hey, we got a wedding date. We're making a step in the right direction.
But you're not married yet. So.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, I've seen a lot of novelas, a lot of Mexican soap operas where the lady, as she's walking in, she's like, you know what? No, I'm out. So hopefully
I hope that after this many years that doesn't happen. So I thought of, why not? I hate, like, you know, in elementary school when you had to go to the class and like say some things about yourself. I feel like that's very awkward. So how about 2 truths and a lie?
Okay.
Just so that the listeners and viewers can understand us a little better.
One thing that you broke, and everybody out there, I'm an open book. Talk about baseball, but I'm more than just baseball. A lot of the games that are played in the United States, and yeah, I'm not a baby anymore, as you can tell, I didn't grow up with.
Okay.
Right? And I remember the first time when somebody, you know, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago or more. So what's your name? Polo. Oh, like Marco Polo? I'm like, yeah, like Marco Polo. Like the game, I'm like, what game? I didn't know there was a game named or called Marco Polo. And she had to explain to me, you know, it's a game where you hide and somebody says Marco, and then you move around and say Polo, and then until they find you. And I guess I've never played this game. If you play in a pool, then you kiss or something like that?
You don't kiss in Marco Polo. No. Who told you that?
Well, the lady,
somebody was trying to trap you into that.
Hey, you need to give me my kiss back. So anyway, so that's one of the things. So explain to me this game, because again,
okay.
I surely don't know what this game is.
There's no kissing involved, so that's
I know
different.
beer pong, but I don't know this one.
Yeah. So 2 truths and a lie. You just have to tell 2 truths about yourself, and one of them is a lie. Oh, and I have to pick out the lie, and
so
vice versa.
So I have to say three things about me.
But one of them's a lie.
Where one of them is the lie.
Yes.
Okay.
So 2 truths. So 2 truths about yourself. One is a lie. I tried to figure out what is the lie.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I ran over our puppy with my dad's car. That's one. The other.
I hope that's not real.
One of my middle toes is way shorter than the other. That's 2.
Okay.
At one point, I was warming up in the bullpen during a Mexican League professional game, and I was told I was going to go in relieve the pitcher. And that's why I was warming up in the bullpen while the game is going on.
Okay. So that one seems a little lengthy. So this is just kind of how I'm going to deduce this. I figure when people lie, they kind of add too much to the story to where it's like even longer than it should be. I wish that it was the first one as a lie, because running over a puppy is probably very depressing and crushes me. And you said it is. So I think that's kind of a giveaway too. I'm going to say the last one is a lie.
I might be just lying.
I'm going to say the last one is a lie.
So now I do the great reveal?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the great reveal is the last one is truth.
Oh.
Back in about 1985, I was a little boy in Tijuana, Mexico, where I'm from. And I became friends with a bullpen catcher for the professional team in Tijuana. And my dad, the Los Potros de Tijuana. And, you know, on a Sunday, we will go to the fields with my dad, used to coach and manage and play. And then after the game, sometimes we will go to the professional league, you know, just like going to a Cardinals game. And I remember looking for this guy in the bullpen, and I found him. You know, walk around. Imagine a 10-year-old kid just walking around the Busch Stadium looking for a bullpen catcher. And when he saw me, he actually brought me into the bullpen. And the game was going on. It was a doubleheader. And the game was going on, and he told me, hey, you need to warm up because it's a doubleheader. We don't have relievers. And the manager just said that he needs you to warm up and come in. I was 10 years old. I believed it, right? And the game was about to end. So I'm warming up in the bullpen, right? Warming up. And I'm doing the whole thing. Then the game ends, and, you know, he's like, you know what? Well, thankfully the game ended, so we don't have to use you anymore. Obviously, he was lying to me, but he made me feel so good that I still remember that moment. And the best part of it is it was a doubleheader. So I walked on the field at El Estadio de los Potros in Tijuana, and he went into the clubhouse. He came out. He handed me a little package with 6 burritos, little burritos for me to eat. And that was a really cool a memory. Not only warming up, thinking that I was going to go and pitch, but also getting the burritos and going back to my seat. So that actually happened.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big. So what was the lie then?
The lie was the puppy.
Why was that like the first place that your mind went to? How did you come up with that lie? That's a terrible thing to just like come up with your
I don't
imagination.
know. Hey, I have a wild imagination, as you know, and that's
Yeah.
what broadcast. If you want a good broadcast, and if you talk to any good broadcasters, we need to have an imagination. Not only we call it as we see it, but we need to have an imagination to bring in the listener. And that's as I tell people, I'm not the best looking guy, the tallest guy, the most muscular, the prettiest, but the God that gave me the gift of jive, of talking and convincing people to do things, and convincing people that I'm a broadcaster. So the lie was that I never. Knock on wood, ran over a puppy.
Please don't.
So my middle toe, it is shorter than the other one.
Okay.
I was not born like that. I was born perfect, like everybody. And then life, takes you places. So one time, in Tijuana, Mexico again, lots of adventures happen in TJ, as you people know if you have been there. And no, there's no donkey show.
Oh, you can't bring that up.
I just said no. It's the elephant in the room. No. I stepped on a nail, and the nail was rusty.
Okay.
And my foot got infected. It got infected to the point the doctor thought I was gonna lose my leg, my right foot, and they saved it, as we can see. It's saved.
That's not fake.
It's not fake, no. But they had to cut some of my middle toe, so I can show you.
Maybe that's the big reveal for another time, because I don't know if I want to see that right now.
So that's me. That's Polo Asensio too. You know what? Maybe we should do this often, because
I feel like you have a lot of stories.
Dude, you don't even know.
I feel like every time that I talk to you, there's like another new. The kids call it lores now. Like they like to say, like folklores or like a lore.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a nice lore about you.
I'm gonna go Shrek. And Donkey say there's layers in the onion.
Yes.
So I am like an onion with a lot of layers. So now I want to smell your onion. What's up with you?
All right. So I'm gonna hide mine.
Oh, you wrote okay. You were ready for this.
I was ready for the two truths and a lie. Okay. Are you ready for this? I lived in Japan. Also, the other thing is I've played tennis and basketball my whole life. Or the other option, I guess I should say, I was in a Bubba Sparks music video. Which one is the lie?
I don't think you ever lived in Japan.
You don't think I've ever lived in Japan?
No.
Okay, so out of all those, just a recap. Live in Japan, played tennis and basketball my whole life.
So I see you because I know you were in pageants and things like that. And you're like from Tennessee and the country music and Bubba Sparks and all that. And your age, well, no, maybe you were underage when he was big, or when he was like coming up. But then again, yeah, I'm gonna stick to it. You'd never lived in Japan, and I know you're like. There's Japanese in you, and you have you call yourself the president of the Lars Bar Nudie Bars or Nutty what?
It's
something.
the Nutty Neuters. So I am the president, CEO, chairman of the Lars Newt Bar fan club.
Okay.
Great Cardinals player, outfielder, currently injured, but that's besides the point. I think he's great.
He's really good.
He's a good guy too.
Oh, he's a good guy. He's a great guy.
So in the fan club that I created, we call ourselves, I guess I should say, the
How many
Nutty
members
Neuters.
is like this club has?
It's endless. So I have a lot of members, and I always, anytime that Lars Newt Bar does something, I post on social media, Nutty Neuters assemble, and then I get all of these commenters coming in. And anybody, if you want to be a Nutty Neuter, you can be. You just have to tell me a Lars Newt Bar fact.
Lars Newt Bar fact. He's from El Segundo, California. He played football.
You're a Nutty Neuter.
His mom was the #1 mom in USC baseball. I know a lot about this guy, not only because I work with him, but because I like the guy.
Exactly.
He's really cool. And I don't know if you know this, but okay, let's finish.
Okay, let me finish. So I did live in Japan.
Where?
I have in Tokyo.
Tokyo, not in Okinawa like Mr. Miyagi.
No.
You know Mr. Miyagi was a legend in Okinawa?
Really?
Mr. Miyagi, you know Mr. Miyagi, right?
Yes, I do.
He fought with Sato. and he had to just disappear from Okinawa because he didn't want to fight with.
That's another lore. That's another lore legend from a movie. Yeah,
no, it's great. Like Daniel-san. Oh,
so I did live there. I had a modeling contract out there when I was 18. It was brief. Now I also was in a Bubba Sparks music video, but this is when he was country Bubba Sparks.
Yeah,
so
that's what I remember.
It was
Where is he now?
I don't know where he is now.
Bubba,
but
hit us up.
Go watch that music video. So it was like him and Colt Ford and some other country rapper, and the music video is called Jacked Up. I played the villain in it, and that's the fun part of like living in Nashville.
Like a villain.
What is that supposed to mean?
You look like a villain. You have that villain look.
Oh, come on, that's mean.
No, that's not mean. That's not mean. I love being the villain. That's why when they gave me that award, thank you to the St. Louis Baseball Writers Association of America, chapter St. Louis. When they gave us the good guy award, I'm like, you're trying to ruin my reputation of a bad guy.
You want to be the bad guy?
Who doesn't? Tony Montana was a bad guy. Razor Ramon was a bad guy.
Okay, yeah. So
Jafar
I did
great.
play
Jafar is the greatest bad guy. I want to make a movie or something where the bad guy actually wins and he takes the princess and nobody sees her ever again.
I think there probably is some like that.
Okay, hit me up because I don't know. I need to look for one. But anyway, sorry.
And the lie is that I played tennis and basketball my whole life. I only play tennis. No basketball.
That's what you threw me off with that one because I've heard
I just threw you a curveball.
Yeah, you balked about it. And
I did.
You made me balk about that move. Well, anyway, thank you.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Now what we've learned, and everybody can go look up the Bubba. We need to get you in a music video. That needs to be a part of your
Who tells you that I have
lore.
not been in one already? Or that I didn't make one already?
Are you in one?
Am I?
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, now we got to figure out by next
I'm
episode
telling you, esta cebolla,
where
esta cebolla nunca termina. The onion just keeps on coming and it's still there. I'm going back to, I thought it was a nail. I was going to be like, Lars Newbar.
Yes.
As you know, Lars Newbar. Oh my God. No wonder you have so many bags. If you guys, Lars, Brooke has like 17 different purses and bags, and I love that.
Because I have a lot of things that I have to do, Polo. Like you said, I'm a busy lady.
I can tell. So Lars and I like to think of my guys like, being close. I say hi to them and they say hi to me. During the World Baseball Classic, I talked to him in Miami. I talked to him before he left, via DM, and we had a couple cool conversations. And then when Japan made it to Miami, I saw him there. And, after Japan beat Mexico, I talked to him. And, I really liked how gracious he was, how even as sorry he was that Japan beat Mexico because of Giovanni Gallegos pitching in the ninth inning and giving it up there. And so I liked the kid. And when he came back, when the season started, his first home run at home, I just went on and on and on, as I call the home runs, and I dropped some Japanese words in there. Well, he loved it. He put it in social media, Instagram. Next thing you know, I'm being followed by a bunch of people from Japan.
Yeah.
So, arigato gozaimasu. See?
There you go.
Arigato gozaimasu means thank you. And then for 2 days, when the Angels came to visit Busch, I was followed by Japanese TV, Asahi TV. I thought Asahi was a beer, but I guess it's a big brand and everything is named the same. So they were following me, and there's going to be a feature coming up of Polo Asensio doing Japanese calls during Cardinals Angels game. So keep an eye out for that one.
It is really cool, and that's what I wanted to talk about in our first segment with the World Baseball Classic.
We're just going to the first segment?
We're going to go into the first.
We're almost out of time.
We're not. Look, for you, we have all the time in the world, Polo. That's how we go. But here's the thing. On Balk About It, we will get into some baseball things. So it's interesting that you bring up the World Baseball Classic because, as we know, you and I both cover the Cardinals, but the Cardinals weren't the only team that had players participate in the World Baseball Classic. But it seems like with the Cardinals start, they had a historically bad start, and that grabbed a lot of headlines. And now they're trying to dig themselves out of the hole that they built up in April. And we had Oli Marmol on our show, the opening drive, like a couple weeks ago, and he brought up the fact that it seems like the World Baseball Classic kind of got them off to kind of the slow start. It's kind of hard to build up a rhythm. So that's my first question is, do you think that the World Baseball Classic has hindered some teams in Major League Baseball? We see specifically with the Cardinals, they had, 18 in total, including minor leaguers who participated in the World Baseball Classic. Do you think that even though it was such a great thing that it might have hindered some teams' performance because you had several guys go and leave and they weren't a part of spring training?
Personally, I did hear that, but I don't really think so. What I heard from some of the players is they actually enjoyed their time in representing their countries because it gave them important at-bats during March. The pitchers, it gave them important pitching situations during March. They didn't have to wait until April for the season to start. Yeah, do things change? Yes. Lars had to go to Japan, so did Tommy Edman and a bunch of others. Andre Palante, nobody talks about that. Palante's having a really good season. Yeah, he was sent down, numbers-wise, but he came back up. So a lot of the guys are having really good seasons. They were part of the World Baseball Classic. Yes, the Cardinals had 17, 18, anywhere from single A to the big club. But when you're a professional athlete, you're ready. And it's not like the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, where professional baseball players had to have other jobs during the offseason to bring money home because baseball didn't pay enough. Nowadays, these athletes, and we see them, they're not shy to go social media and show us how much they work out. We see every single athlete out there in social media posting something about working out. And the Cardinals are no different. You have teams like the Dodgers. You have teams, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay had a few players. Tampa Bay has the most electric player during the World Baseball Classic, and he continues to be electric during the season. His name is Randy Arozarena.
I think that sounds familiar to Cardinals fans.
He was Team Mexico. For those asking why was he representing Team Mexico, he was Cuban, born and raised, but when he defected, he went to Mexico, and he became a Mexican citizen. Myself, born and raised in Mexico, but now I am an American citizen because I've lived here for so long, I can even vote now for president and everything else here in the United States. So Randy was electric for Mexico. He electrified the baseball world. There's kids in Mexico right now being made that when they are born, their name is going to be Randy or Arozarena. Like if you have a girl, there's going to be girls named Arozarena because of Randy. So if you ask the Tampa Bay Rays, they're going to be like, if anything, it helped us because it brought a lot of attention to our team. And this guy just keeps being electric and putting all that into the season. Did it affect the Cardinals? Maybe at the beginning, but like I said, we are all professional. We need to be ready. And it was weird looking at the Cardinals and watching those games where the balls were being hit really, really hard right at the guys, right at the other team's defense. And when the other team would hit in bloopers, they were landing. Ours were not. And it's a lot of luck. It's a lot of luck. Hopefully, the hole keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The season is long. And at the end, I think the Cardinals are going to be fine. They're going to make the playoffs and another run for another title. I mean, do we have to catch up to everybody else in the Central? Yes, we do, but we will.
Because the division is not great.
The division is not great, but that's not the Cardinals' fault. You know, it's like when your competition is not great, it's not up to you to say, hey, guys, get better. You're like, okay, you don't want to be better? It's like, like radio shows, TV shows, broadcast. If other broadcasters are not good, it's not for me to say you need to be better. It's like, you know what? I'm going to continue to, be good, be better than you. And if you don't want to be better than me, that's up to you. And I think that's what the Cardinals are looking at is like, okay, you guys don't want to be better? You guys don't want to be better than us? That's fine. And I'm not saying the other teams are not better or are not good. It just, you can see it. You can sense it. And it's interesting how baseball is changing, the divisions. And to me, it's very particular and interesting to see the National League and the American League Central Division being the slowest. I'm not going to say the worst because they're all professional athletes and they're all really good and way better than I am. But they are the two divisions that are struggling the most, which is interesting. The East and the West, both sides, they're really good, having great seasons, especially the American League East. But when you look at both Centrals, you have teams leading with barely over 500s, and the teams behind them just picking up. So, the World Baseball Classic perhaps put a little, hindering at the beginning of the season. But, after a couple of weeks, everything should have been back to normal, and we're still, trying to catch up.
Well, and that's what the interesting thing, too, is because you even had Waino. I know that it wasn't necessarily got injured during the World Baseball Classic, but he started out the season on the injured reserve. So then him getting back acclimated with the team, it just seems like the Cardinals have been struggling rhythmically or even just to find some sort of identity for this group.
One thing that I have not heard, it's the coaching staff. When you have, and I understand, a lot of the coaches were in the organization, were in the system, but it's not the same to be the assistant pitching coach to Mike Maddox to being the pitching coach like Dusty Blake, right? Turner Ward, he's been in baseball for a long time. He was the assistant to Jeff Albert. Now he is the man. I'm not saying they're doing a bad job because they're not. It's just you need to adjust to new roles. Even the bullpen, we had Gertie in the bullpen. Now we have a different Suarez in the bullpen. So all those changes, like it or not, they will affect. Even though it's the same philosophy, it's a different voice, a different face, a different level of trust, and those things do change. And one piece that was very important for the Cardinals coaching staff, Skip Schumacher. The bench coach. Yeah. The bench coach does a lot. People don't understand how much work the bench coach is in charge of. And when you lose Skip to the Marlins to be their manager, you lost a big piece.
And then you thought you would get Matt Holliday too, but then that also didn't pan out. Yeah. And and I've seen on social media some people speculate, Matt Holliday knew that this was going to happen with the Cardinals. This is why he didn't want to be a part of it. He is such like a family man, and you could tell that was when he meant it. He meant what he said, and that he wanted to be around his children more. His son Jackson, killing it through the Orioles organization right now. I mean, he is a stud. And then he has another son also up and coming in baseball too. So I don't think that he saw any writing on the wall, but then you also lose another very experienced voice in that you were hoping to have on your bench this season.
It's a lot of different factors.
Yeah.
A lot of youth with this Cardinal team. We have a lot of young players that have been in this team for a while, like Carlson, Nootbaar, 2-3 years, Paul DeYoung, Tommy Edman. But those guys are still young, right? And they are really good players, but with all due respect, they're not superstars with the numbers. They all do a great job. I love Brandon Donovan. I tell Donnie, dude, if I had a team with 12 Donnies and 12 Giovanni Gallegos, we will be a really, really good team. Because even though he's not a guy who's going to hit 20, 25 home runs, he's going to get the job done.
Yeah.
Anywhere you put him. So it's a different Cardinal team than what we had over the last few years. Obviously, Yadi's not here anymore. Albert, came and went. But it's a team that it will get it. And I'm not drinking a Kool-Aid or company man or whatever. But I've learned to trust Mo. And I told him that before. John Mo said, I was like, I've learned to trust you. Like at the beginning, when I was a new guy here, what are we doing? What are they doing? Why are they not doing this? Why are they doing that? With time, he has always found a way to get the Cardinals there. And, a puncher's chance. That's all you need when you're a good team. And this team, again, I feel that we're going to get to the playoffs. The way it looks is going to be basically kind of like last season, where we make the playoffs and we host the first round of the playoffs. And, when you play baseball at Busch, the fans are a big factor. Yeah, last season, it didn't go our way. but eventually that ceiling we're gonna break it.
I do think the Phillies did end up doing well, huh? Does it makes you feel a little better?
Oh, just a
little bit better. Another thing, though, does it make you feel a little bit better too? Not saying that the Padres are absolutely terrible, but does it make you feel a little bit better knowing that they spent so much money and they're struggling, right?
Let me tell you something about the San Diego Padres. This is the Padres. This is a subject for me, and I don't know if you know this. I don't think you do.
I'm always learning more about your lore and onion peeling.
No, it's the Padres. I grew up liking the Padres. There's pictures of little Polo wearing yellow and caca brown, you know. There's a lot of them at my mom's house. And then I turned the leaf. My onion was peeled off when Fernando Valenzuela, if you don't know who Fernando is, Google him, one of the greatest pitchers that ever came out of Mexico, who changed baseball in 1981. He changed baseball. He brought baseball back during a strike season. Mm-hmm. That's Fernando Valenzuela. He is what Big Mac and Sammy Sosa did in 1998. He brought baseball back himself. So I turned into a Dodger fan because he's Mexican, he speaks Spanish, he looks like me. So I turned into a Dodger fan. But the rest of my family, including my dad, they kept, being losers. I mean, sorry, Padres fans.
Padres fans, yeah.
And now my brother, has a really close relationship with the team. He works with the team. And, yeah, we have long conversations about the Padres. And San Diego, they were making plans for a parade back in January, February when they started. Oh, my God. Dude. Padre fans were ready to rock downtown San Diego and turn that parade all the way to Tijuana from last season when they beat the Dodgers. The Dodgers have always beat the Padres. And if you're ever in San Diego when the Dodgers go to Petco Park to play the Padres, just go around there and you will see what I'm talking about. It turns into Dodger Stadium South in such a way that imagine what they did this last season, and I think they continue it this season. For the playoffs, if you wanted to buy tickets online for the playoffs at Petco Park, your zip code had to be in San Diego. Like if you live in LA or anywhere outside San Diego,
then you weren't getting it.
You couldn't buy tickets. Why? Because they wanted to keep Dodger fans out of Petco Park.
Because then it always looks bad when the other team has more in there.
And that has happened for years in San Diego.
Yeah.
When the Dodgers go there. So to see the Padres struggle, it doesn't make me happy, but it makes me go like this.
Just a chuckle to yourself.
Yeah,
well, because they spent so much money, and that's what's been so weird to me about Major League Baseball in general this season, where it's like you even look at, you're talking about the Rays and how talented they are. Randy Rosarina, a great story. Their payroll is like nothing. I mean, literally nothing compared to some of these other teams that spent a lot of money, like the Mets, the Padres, and where they're at, and the injuries they keep dealing with.
It comes down to pitching, right? The Rays have really good pitching, and really good hitting.
Yeah,
the Padres don't have really good pitching. The Cardinals have struggled with their pitching, the starting pitching. And it's not a secret, right? Like you said, Wainwright starting in the injured list. Flaherty, having his issues. Michael as the most consistent. Montgomery, I thought he was going to be a lot better, and he's struggling for some reason. Steven Matz, up and down and in the bullpen now, and hopefully back in the rotation soon. So if you don't have pitching, it's going to be really hard for you. And the Padres don't really have a lot of pitching. They thought they did with Joe Musgrove and Blake Snell and Martinez and the other kid that I forget, the Puerto Rican kid. Oh my goodness, you know who he is.
Yeah.
And you Darvish, your homeboy from Japan. If you don't have good pitching, it's going to be hard for you.
Yeah.
And that's not a secret. So you need to have good pitching, and the Padres are struggling. Again, like I said, they thought they had like a 1-2-3 punch with Snell, Musgrove, and Darvish, but they don't. And that's why they're like, last time I checked, they were third, fourth in the division with almost $300 million payroll. And not only that, but Tatis, Machado, Bogarts, all those guys for 10, 12 years,
yeah,
28, 30 million. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be. I want them to win because there's a lot of people that I love that cheer for the Padres, but
like
at the same, my
Oh,
brother,
just your family.
yeah, my brother, my friends, my sisters, people, my cousins, people that I know in Tijuana. But at the same time, I don't want them to win because I know they're going to give me a hard time. Even if I say, look, I'm happy for you. But they're going to be, no. Don't be happy for us. We hate you. You were always a Dodger fan. Now you're with the Cardinals. You think you're better than us. I don't think I'm better than you. I am. So, it's one of those things.
But you're a Cardinals fan, right?
I work for the Cardinals.
Isn't that always that's the weird part of being a broadcaster too? Yeah. It's very rare that you get to cover the team that you grew up watching. It's very rare. And so you of course you get immersed in it. You become like a fan of it, and you're close with some of the players too. And it's like you get close and you want to be a fan, but then you're supposed to also be kind of subjective too.
It's a different situation when you actually work for the team.
Yeah.
Like you work for ESPN, you used to work for a TV station. You're not supposed to cheer for them because you don't work for them, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, you don't want to say anything like extremely against it, or even if it's your truth, because the fan base is going to turn on you. But when you work for the team, it's a little different. You're allowed to cheer, not be like the Detroit Tigers
There's no
broadcasters.
cheering. Yeah.
That they're like they almost have pom-poms in the booth. I don't have pom-poms. I have Benji, and he's my pom-pom. We have fun in there. But I've learned, like I said, to trust Mo, and I have learned to love the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. My wardrobe went from blue to red in the last.
They have some blues.
6-7
They're
years.
road blues that they wear.
The victory blue, the powder blues, but not the Dodger blue or the Royals blue.
Yes.
Which is a playoff or play on with the Dodgers uniform. That's for another show. But yeah, it's easy to like something or someone when they open up themselves to you.
Yeah.
And that's what I got when I got here to St. Louis with the Cardinals in 2016. And the first time I went to Busch, it was fun. The first time I went to Busch when there was a game. But the first time I went to Busch, I went for a meeting. Because people from the Cardinals organization wanted to meet me and see if I was the right guy for them to allow me to do those 2 games we did in 2016. But then when I get to the clubhouse, and at that point there was a lot of Brian Peña was here, Aledis Diaz was there, Jaime Garcia was there, Carlos Martinez was there, Alex Reyes was there, obviously Yadi was there, and when I got to the clubhouse, it helped me that I had the experience of working in LA with the Dodgers, because I was exposed to super athletes and superstars from day one. Right, because the Dodgers that's a team that they always have to have superstars in the roster, 2, 3, 4 at a time, you name it. I got there 2 weeks before, 2 weeks before Manny Ramirez got to LA. So that was my welcome to when I started working with the Dodgers, to welcome Manny Ramirez. And if you don't know who Manny Ramirez is, Google it. So here it was different. They opened their arms. They gave me a microphone. And they trusted me. And when somebody trusts you, all you have to do is pay back with trust, with hard work. And I think that's what I've been doing here. And
being fair. Not everything's going to be perfect and rosy. No. I mean, believe me, there's been a lot of situations early on this season with the Cardinals where it's like you can question some things. And
we question them.
Oh, we question it. Do we need to address the elephant in the room briefly?
You bring
briefly.
That's why the elephant is here. The elephant room.
Okay, I think some people tuning in, of course, they know that we talk Cardinals. We work around the Cardinals too and cover them. The Willson Contreras situation, definitely. I felt like just added. We talk about the World Baseball Classic, how that was hard for the team to get into a rhythm. The Willson Contreras situation,
and he chose to stay,
and he did
to learn
yes.
his pitchers,
yes.
even though Michaelas and Palante, Giovanni Gallegos, Genesis Cabrera,
Adam Wainwright
were gone to the WBC, but he decided to stay. So
yeah, and that's the thing is that whole situation with the Willson Contreras, where, you know, it's your starting catcher. You went out and pursued him. You went out. It wasn't an arranged marriage. Like, this was something that they went into, the full proposal. They had the dinner down in Florida where it was Oli Marmol and then John Mozeliak talking to him. They knew what they were signing up to.
What was the dinner? Like, they had steak, lobster, shrimp?
I'm thinking like something romantic, you know, maybe some pasta. You have like a Lady and the Tramp moment, like that sealed the deal. Yeah. But either way, this wasn't an arranged marriage. And then you had the Willson Contreras situation where it was like 33 games into the season, you publicly say that he is no longer going to be your catcher. He's going to be more in the DH role and even outfield role. I know they said that for one day. And that just felt like that also added to the Cardinals kind of losing their rhythm early on this season. I mean, that was one of the more interesting and difficult things that I think I've ever covered.
It was, if it was interesting for you from the outside,
yeah,
and difficult for you from the outside, imagine for us from the inside, where perhaps we know a little more than what we are supposed to know.
Yeah. And
you have to
dance around it.
Around it, like right now I'm doing. It's just situations that they're hard to explain, right? Thankfully, everything hopefully is in the past. Is resolved.
I mean, 5 years, $87.5 million.
That's one thing that Willson told me. He's like, you know what? They signed me for 5 years. I'm gonna be here for 5 years.
Yeah.
There's, you know, I'm making a lot of money. I hope to do better, to be better. I'm here. You know, he didn't say they're stuck with me or I'm stuck here. He just said, I'm here, and I intend to be the catcher for this team. And he is the catcher for this team.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going to leave it at. He is the catcher for this team. Nothing against anybody else, but he has proven to be a catcher. He's a world champion catcher, and he is a good catcher.
Yes.
If you compare any catcher, Realmuto, Sean Murphy, Will Smith, whoever, to one of the greatest, Giovanni's a great, but not one of the greatest, not yet, Yadier Molina. If you compare anybody to Yadier Molina, only Johnny Bench and Ivan Rodriguez can be compared to Yadier Molina.
Yeah.
Other than that, everybody else is far, far, far second. So, and that's one thing that I liked. I heard Mo mention, like, we were not ready for this. Like, we had, for about 20 years, the same guy back there. We didn't have to worry about that. And then all of a sudden, those 20 years went by fast.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you know, and you had so many heir apparents. You have Carson Kelly, you have Kistner, you have Ivan Herrera, the ones that I remember from being here. And, you know, it's like you're not going to replace a Hall of Famer.
No.
You're not. I don't care. Even if you bring another Hall of Famer, you're not going to replace any Hall of Famers with nobody, and especially somebody like Yadier Molina.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, too. I remember from that introductory press conference with Willson Contreras when he came in after they signed him, is that he didn't even say that he was going to be Yachty. He said, I'm not trying to be Yachty, I'm going to be me. And that's what they brought him in there for. And that's why it was just very surprising to see, because I think, and you mentioned this, I think we've all seen thus far, it has nothing to do with Willson Contreras. It's the starting pitching and pitching staff in general, where maybe they needed to look internally and say, okay, we can't blame this on somebody behind the plate.
And going back to what I heard Miles Michaelis say it. He is catching. He's not pitching.
Yes. It's execution.
I'm
the one
making
pitcher.
The pitches. Even if he didn't mean it, he said the right thing, because that's it. He is a catcher, right? Catchers are supposed to catch. Hitters are supposed to hit. Pitchers are supposed to pitch. If the pitcher's not making the pitches, what? You know, if you're a pitcher and the catcher calls for a pitch and you don't like it, go to the second choice, go to the third choice. And I understand there's a little thing, a remote thing and all that. But look what Shohei Ohtani does. He has this thing right here. He said, I'm calling my pitches. This is my pitch. Nobody's going to say no to me because I'm pitching this one. So if you're not happy in general, pitchers in baseball, with your catcher, then grab that thing from his knee, put it whatever you want, anywhere you want, click it, and make that pitch.
And a lot of the best pitchers in the game call their own game. That's just what you see, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should wrap it up. Maybe.
It's up to you. I mean, I have all day.
I know that you eventually have to get to work or something like that. Your other job, one of your million jobs.
If you call that
okay,
work.
why don't we wrap it up with this, with the last thing. So, I have been very big on home run celebrations. For a while, the Cardinals didn't have anything. So you saw other teams around the league that were doing home run celebrations, like, the Brewers had the cheese head. I thought that was really cool. The Angels
with the amazing helmet.
Yes, which goes back to the World Baseball Classic because it was inspired with that with Shohei Ohtani. He was actually able to bring it back from Japan. And finally, the Cardinals got the hamburger phone. So what is your favorite home run celebration right now? There's a lot.
Right now, yeah, there's a few. I like celebrations that involve the whole club.
Yes. In the dugout, everybody's celebrating.
And going back to the Padres, that's a love and hate situation. When they went to Mexico City, they had great time over there, great series. They hit a lot of home runs. They were all wearing the and maybe this is because I'm Mexican. They had the big old sombrero, the mariachi hat.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. And not only they do that, but then they capture the moment. They take a picture, right? And somebody said, take a picture, it will last longer. So that celebration starts with the home run, bat flip, or whatever they do. They come in, they put the hat on, high five, and then a picture. It's great to see the helmet, the burger, the Reds with their capes, the Mariners with also helmets, and all the teams doing something, even the Red Sox last season with the cart, the laundry cart. But when you finish that celebration with a picture, I like that. I like that.
I do say I like the hamburger phone because I think it kind of adds, which they kind of needed more of that camaraderie. Because for a while there, especially when they weren't doing well, it was stale in the dugout. But think about it.
They grab the phone and they make the call, right?
Yes.
And if it doesn't hit, okay, boom. But after the home run, there's no real celebration. I would love to see, guys. I would love to see, let's say, I don't know, the Tommy Edman. I don't know if Nolan will do it, but that's why I said Tommy Edman. Hits a home run and then runs, high five, and then goes to the phone and does something. Or, I don't know if you heard the story, they were looking to make a burger hat. Like to
a
wear.
Full burger hat?
And I think they bought one on Amazon or one of those websites, but it was not up to their standards.
Okay.
So
there's hamburger hat standards.
If they were to finish the celebration with a hamburger hat, I'll be all for it.
Okay.
Right? Or at least
because it ties everything in, right? It ties it all in.
It's like you don't know if they made the call to the burger phone.
Yeah.
That the home run, but you need to ask, hey, did anybody call it? No. Oh, okay. So I mean, it's cute. And people are now just like the pepper grinder.
I've seen people are bringing
them and getting them signed. So I like it. It's a good start. Let's finish it up.
I still like the samurai hat too. I think those are my top two right now.
It's funny. You like the samurai hat. I like the Mexican mariachi hat. Wonder why.
It works out. I don't know. Maybe I like Team Japan a little bit.
Maybe.
I don't know. All right. Well, thank you, Polo. We're going to do this again bi-weekly, so make sure to tune in to check us out on Balk About It. We're going to continue to talk about baseball news, Cardinals, but also Major League Baseball in general, things that we find interesting and that we want to balk about.
It's all about us.
Yeah. And then also some interviews, maybe every once in a while, where we get to know people a little bit better.
We will get to know people.
Peel back the onion. That's what it is.
Hey, we just had. Hey, and remember, if you want your brand here, hit us up.
Here eventually.
Or if you sell onions, bring us some.
Yes.